Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moving the Magnets. Teams come out at 6:20. We talk about it all the way leading up into the 6:20 timestamp. I've got a little countdown in the bottom right now. I'll look to add some more context to that timer in next coming weeks, just so people are very clear that and fully understanding of what that countdown is for. But for those who are here now and maybe watching this in post-production, that countdown is working towards the teams being released at 6:20. What will Collingwood do? Will they go tall? Will they go small in the back line? There's a little bit of information and insight on what we might expect based on some training outcomes over the last coming days. We've seen Will Hayes training with the main squad. So is he likely to be an emergency? Did we have him in our predicted 23 as an emergency? I want to quickly double check that. I feel like we weren't too far off, but just looking at Jen's tweets. Let's have a look at Jen. She was at training. What did she say? Guys, I'm not sure if I've just resumed this, but something did happen. Let me just double check to see that this is resumed. I do apologize. Okay, we're back. All right. We're back. I do apologize. What an absolute shambles to the Moving the Magnets tonight. I don't know what happened. The computer completely froze, but we're back. I'm sorry. What a shambles, huh? Anyways, we made it. We're back. Look, we were talking about whether we'd go small or tall, and we've just got some tweets on good old Twitter from Jen. She was at training. She's always at training. So she said, last week's squad was at doing a captain's run, minus more, plus Houston and Hayes, who would get their first time as an emergency. So does that mean TJ didn't train with the first team? So maybe he doesn't come in. Looking like Perriman will be used down back, which that was something we considered in the predicted 23. I thought he'd be a little bit too small to replace someone like Darcy Moore. I know it's never going to be like for like, but you would have liked a little bit of height and aerial presence. I know the game's going to be quite the weather conditions aren't going to be ideal for talls, but I would have thought we still would have elected for at least a medium-sized player who is aerially competitive. I would have thought TJ offers a little bit more of that than a Harry Perriman. So we'll find out where less than by the way, is my countdown timer right? What's 37 minutes to now? Yeah, that sounds about right. 37 minutes and a half. Yeah, no TJ. Hey, Melissa, how you going? I'm good. Braz would have been first in line to suggest Nick as captain. Yeah, so Reedy says, mate, good to see you. I like your take on Braz being captain for Anzac Day. That wouldn't have been cool. Didn't even think that myself. Yeah, but there's the other side to it, isn't there, Reedy? Like I did propose that sort of thought process, but at the same time, there's also a world where Brazzy comes into the office and says, "Hey, don't worry about me. I don't need the title for the Anzac game. Give it to Nick." I could definitely see a world where that played out as well. Yeah, there you go. Manny says, apparently Brazzy was in the leaders' meeting and told Nick to do it. It says a lot about the Braz. Yeah, so there's many different ways to look into it. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the glitches, guys. Hopefully that's not a recurring issue because that was a pain in the backside, eh? But never you mind. I'm looking at this article from Gary Lyon in the Herald Sun today. What does he say? Gary Lyon's Anzac Day preview, the 10 players who will decide Collingwood versus Essendon. I'm gonna go through this article, but I'm gonna say, never have I been ever more out of tune with what the experts say and do. They can make as much sense of every game and every possibility, and at the end of the day, the outcome is going to be different. it's not going to be as predicted. And if you predicted right, you just got lucky. You made an educated guess. I just get sick of the expertise stuff. There's too many experts these days. I've really taken the position of just being a fan and rolling with that. Whereas like last year, you would have seen a lot of analytics and stats and data. At the end of the day, mate, just go out, play hard, and give your all, and leave the analysis to what happens. Leave it with what goes on inside the four walls. Anyways, there are a lot of sayings in football, says Gary Lyon. Some ring more true than others, but one of them is you're only as good as your bottom six is not one I've been on board with. Interesting. Gary says, I get the thinking behind it. That depth is important, and if you can bat deep, then it increases your chance of success. Plus, with constant rotations throughout a match, it is imperative that the workload is shared. All totally reasonable and arguable positions to take, but the more football I watch, the more inclined I am to subscribe to the you're only as good as your top six theory, if indeed there is one. Who is Collingwood's top six guys? Off the top of my head, our top six players are Nick Dacos, Geordie De Goey, Jeez, that's not easy, eh? Darcy Cameron. Yeah, so the timer D's, I think there must have been some sort of error. Let me quickly rectify that. But I've got 3 out of the top 6. You put Pendlebury in there, Sidebottom, that's 5. Who's number 6? Who's number 6, guys? Is Josh Dacos in there? Oh, my days. Let's amend this quickly. So let's go down to there, 24 minutes, right? Just goes to show how shocking I am at maths, eh? So Tribal Chief says Dacos, De Goey, Moore, Bobby Hill. That's 4. Manny says Nick, Moore, Bruz, Houston, Cameron, Pendle, Sidey, Josh. That's 8. I think we're trying to get 6 here, no? We're trying to get 6, aren't we? Anyways, I'll keep the article rolling while you guys try and figure out who your 6 top players are at the Collingwood Football Club. The influence of our superstars have never been more profound, and the way the modern day coach deploys his most important assets even further enhances that notion. Put simply, the stars of the game go where the games demand they go. If the Bulldogs are getting hammered at centre clearance, Marcus Bontempelli will make sure he is there for the next one. If they've struggled to convert inside 50 opportunities, Bontempelli will be put to the goal square. Melbourne aren't dangerous or creative enough in the forward 50. Cozzy Pickett is your man, needs some explosiveness out of the middle. The D's number 36 goes in. Want some extra run and drive off half back? Josh Dacos will deliver. Do you need to upset the rhythm and structure of the opposition? Nick Dacos can take his tag wherever he wants to. Paddy Cripps, the clearance beast, or Paddy Cripps, the wild card. I see where you're coming from, Gaz. So let's fast forward to who the 10 players are that will determine the outcome of Essendon versus Collingwood. Obviously, the first one off the bat is Nick Dacos. There is no stage or occasion that he hasn't conquered, yet he's just 22 years of age. He will have been the subject of so much of Essendon's planning and will have to contend with a myriad of opponents. But as he has demonstrated to such clinical degree in recent weeks, he is largely unstoppable. Go figure. Who would have thought Nick Dacos can't be stopped, won't be stopped, probably won't ever be. Combine that with his freakish skill set and you have the complete package. Zach Merritt, another one who's absolutely torn us to bits in years gone by, so hopefully we can put as much homework into him as possible. I'm curious. I know Zach Merritt is largely an outside player and was very much that last year. I wonder if he's changed his profile with regards to how he's getting his possessions. Are they contested or are they... So what was it? His contested possession rate last year, where are you, mate? Was So 33% of his possessions were contested, which is very low. Very low for a midfielder, an on-baller. What about this year? Surely he's gone a different route. No, still 33%. So there you go. For reference, Nick Dacos, who's getting more outside ball this year, is 38 or nearly 39% of his possessions are contested. So these are the players that you're gonna notice the most, because when you have the ball on the outside and you're making great decisions going inside 50, you can see how much it hurts you with their run and drive. Sometimes you don't notice those players on the inside who are just feeding those handballs from within the coalface to the outside, like Ned Long feeding it to Nick, or maybe who is a big body, maybe a Durham to Zach Merritt sort of combination. You don't really notice the initial hands so much so. So Zach Merritt's one. Darcy Cameron, what an outstanding season Cameron is having. A pivotal component of the Collingwood defensive vice has been applied to opposition sides in the last month. Provides outstanding support for his defensive six. This guy just continues to dominate old mate Darcy Cameron. Like Gary has said, and we've obviously picked this up a long time ago as a fan base, that what Darcy Cameron does for our defensive half unit, being able to roll back and provide some aerial respite for players like Billy Frampton and Darcy Moore. You know, you don't see Darcy Moore listed in the back line, but really, without Darcy Cameron listed in the back line, but really without Darcy Cameron achieving what he's achieving in the back line when he is in that D50, I don't think we're anywhere near as defensively sound. He just obviously, he's just able to chop us out time and time again. He's averaging nearly 3 intercept marks per game, and I would say most of them would be in his defensive half for sure. Obviously, intercept marks you're looking to intercept usually in your back half, right? All right, let me just quickly catch up to the comments. Your local espresso says, yep, I thought Maynard would have been captain. Dacos' time will come. As we've just said, though, I think it seems like Bruzzy certainly would have just said, hey, Nick, you've never been captain before. I've already been a stand-in captain. I don't need that again. This is bigger for you at this point of your career. That's probably the way it went. Peter says, I'm going to read it out, but it's obviously satirical or tongue-in-cheek. Question: if you had to choose between Maynard and Bont for next season, who would you pick? I can't tell if you're serious, but I'll take off my black and white glasses and I'll say Marcus Bontempelli, obviously. Too many shows and predictions last a week for them. That's the problem. They're always looking for the punchline every week. And more often than not, Collingwood will be in the headline just because of we're a Big Four club, we're high performers, we've got famous names, big time players. So if you can clutch onto a punchline, too old, too slow, blah blah blah, all that shit, they're gonna roll with it. It's gonna sell. Hey, don't get me wrong. I do a similar thing at Pies Footy. I don't necessarily jump the gun, but the titles need to be enticing. They need to intrigue you to click on the video. So call that clickbait if you will, but I'm baiting you into clicking the video and hopefully getting some learnings out of it, whether it be about how trades work or maybe it's an opinion and it just opens up a different perspective for you. Or you can completely and utterly disagree and call me a cockhead in the comment section. That's okay. It's fine. The experts that called us old in pre-season, says Manny. Bont, don't mean I don't love Maynard, says Espresso. Pies by 46, says Lance Ward. Hard not to pick Bont, Peter. Hard not to pick Bont. Sorry guys, so when I check the comment section on this new streaming platform, it just takes me all the way down to the bottom. Sorry, Geordie. Fuck, we got guns everywhere, says Manny. Houston is definitely top 6, so that's tough. Feel like if Bobby Hill plays well, we usually win, but that could be just the eye test. Houston and Cameron. I'm going to write mine down because I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble here. So my non-negotiables, yeah. Darcy Cameron. My non-negotiables. Darcy Cameron. Jordan De Goey. Nakos. That's 3, yeah? This is where it just gets tough here. I mean, let's throw in Houston, yeah? Let's throw in Houston. Let's throw in DM30, skipper. This last spot is what troubles me. As of right now, yeah? If we're talking as of right now, if I had to take 6 players from the team right now, based on performances in 2025, I think I'm throwing in Steele side bottom. Side bum. So who misses? Who's on the precipice of making a top 6 right now? I've got Pendles. I'd almost throw in Ned Long in there just because of how well he's going and what he does for the team structurally. I think Jeremy Howe deserves to be in that conversation. Josh Dacos is there as well. So that's what I got. I got DC, JDG, Nakos, Houston, DM30, and Steele. Just short of the mark, I've got Scott Pendlebury, Ned Long, Jeremy Howe, and Josh Dacos. How do we feel about that? Cameron has to be in our top 5. He's in our top 2, that's for sure. We've got guns everywhere, says Manny. Let's be honest. Yeah, Houston, Nakos, Jake. Oh, you got Jacos in there in lieu of Sidey Melissa. Yeah, good, says Houston, Nick, Dacos, DC, Howe, Sidey, Hill. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're missing... You've got JDG out of there. And you don't have Darcy Moore there. Yeah, good. Okay. Fair enough. I like Jeremy Howe being in some people's top 6. Chris says Ned Long in top 6. Peter says unpopular opinion, but Bobby Dazzler is our most dangerous player. He's probably our most dangerous player in the forward half when he's just on a roll. But unfortunately, his role doesn't allow that on a week-to-week basis, along with his own inconsistencies. Steve-O says Steele to take home the Anzac medal. It'd be nice. Imagine if Brazzy could kick 2 again and get his Anzac medal. It would, he encapsulates everything that you want in a player to represent such a game like the Anzac Day game. How is over? Digsby says, How is ever reliable? Think we can trust him, Braz and others to hold down the fort tomorrow. Melissa thinks either Ned Long, Nick Dacos, or Sidey gets Anzac Day medal. Digsby says Cameron can go back a bit and get some intercept marks. He always does that. Okay, your local espresso. Is this in order? Number 1, Nick Dacos. Number 2, Darcy Moore. Number 3, JDG. Number 4, Jacos. Number 5, McStay. Number 6, my check in terms of value and structure. Okay, I see what angle you're coming in from there. I'd keep my check in that one. I'd probably take out McStay. You'd have to put Darcy Cameron in there. If we're talking value, yeah. Value as in what we got them for. We got DC for a packet of chips. And structurally, not only is DC dominant in the ruck duels, he can roll forward, but more importantly, he's an extra key defender. Melissa says, it is so hard to pick our top 6 players as we have so many top players in the side. All right, I'll give you another task. We've got our top 6. Right now in our squad, who are playing right now, who are in our bottom 6? I reckon that will be even more difficult. And I'm gonna cheat, as in I'm gonna go to the last game we played against Brisbane, just to see the lineups, to see what we're dealing with. Bottom 6. So, okay. For me, bottom 6. Man, that's tough. Oh, God. All right. Well, we start with Billy Frampton. I think he's in our bottom 6 still. Oh, God. Mason Cox. And I say that I think these guys are they the most replaceable as well? Will Hoskin Elliott, that's 3. Goodness. I'm looking at this lineup like I'm very reluctant to put any of these players in our bottom 6, really. Ooh. Like Bo McCreary, bottom 6, maybe? Like, are you putting Isaac Quaynor in your bottom 6 at the moment? Oh. Perryman, maybe? 1, 2. Like, Perryman, one of the biggest unrestricted free agent acquisitions in the offseason. I'm asking myself, is he a bottom 6 player in our starting 23 right now? Oh my god. Oh my. I've got 4. I need 2 more. I'm just gonna put Quaynor in there. I think he's. I don't want to make a meal of this, but the names have to be put on this list, and we'll put Lipinski in now. I haven't read the comments, but I'm sure most of you are saying Lipinski. I've got Billy Frampton, Mason Cox, Will Hoskin Elliott, Bo McCreary, Isaac Quaynor, and Lipinski as our bottom 6 players in our most recent starting 23 against the Brisbane Lions. Digsby thinks Hoskin Elliott could have a vintage game against the Bombers. Wouldn't mind it. Manny says Cameron in defence is part of our system. He covers our run and gun just in case we turn the ball over. Steele and Long should be able to deal with Zach Merritt, says Digsby. Ned Long Anzac Day medal injected into my veins, says Dees. And then Nick Dacos in his speech says, that's my bodyguard. Peter says, just preparing you guys for Brad's exit so it won't be so hard. He's softening us up, are ya? Where we go. Oh, a bunch of comments. I need to catch up on this. Where were we at? Okay, here we are. I'll catch up now. Pies by 6 and an instant classic, says Digsby. Long isn't top 6, but he's very good, says Digsby. I didn't put him in the top 6, but I have him on the precipice of it right now. You can't say he's not around the mark. Digsby, Manny says, Digsby, Bruzzy not going anywhere. I've seen some clips of him around the club. Not look a bloke that, it doesn't look like a bloke that's leaving, says Manny. Manny's been doing forensic analysis on the Collingwood YouTube channel and checking to see some body language signs of how the Bruz is operating around the club. Hello, Manny. A couple years ago, I would have had Howe, but he's dropped off a bit. Still quite good, but clearly lost a bit as he's got older. I think he's held his own. I wouldn't say he's too far off his best. Memo says, no way JDG is in our top 5 at the moment. I think the top 6 we were talking about was more about just in general, whereas the bottom 6 we're talking about as of right now. Form right now. But come the end of the year, you can't say you wouldn't consider JDG to be a top 6 player for the Collingwood Football Club in a final series. Peter Nutt says, Shooter is our best small forward. Digsby says, Crisp used to be top 6. He's great, but playing the wing isn't a great position. He is like the face of what a sacrifice... he's the face of what a player is who is sacrificing their stats, their impact, their value for the betterment of the team. He's playing on the wing where... he could very well play half-back flank. He could play in the midfield and do very, very well for any other club and also for Collingwood as well. He did that last year. At the end of the day, they need to make space for the likes of Nick Dacos. Now you've got Ned Long in there. You still got Pendlebury. You still got Sidebottom. Our wing stocks aren't great right now with Harrison injured. Sidebottom moving into the middle has been a godsend. So right now we need Jack Crisp on the wing. He can't play halfback flank because we've got Josh Dacos there, because we've got Houston there. We've got Perryman who can use the ball there as well. We are starting to sound like Carlton relying on six or so-called superstars. Well, we look at our bottom six and we go, at the same time, Manny, we got top six players here that was hard to pick, but I found it even harder to pick our bottom six. So that's, I think Gary Lyons appealed to the fallacy that he doesn't believe that you're only as good as your bottom six. I think I still subscribe to that to a certain extent. Melissa says, at the moment with JDG injured, he isn't in our top six, but it won't take long for him to get there. Give him a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's going to be wet tomorrow, Steve-O. Maybe it's a still side bottom game, huh? Too early to say with Schultz. I'd like to see 5 games in a row where he kicks straight from 30 out, says your local espresso. Yeah, I remember that, Digsby. This was when Sidey was well off. It's been quite a dramatic turn of events since last Anzac Day for still side bottom, hasn't it, Digsby? Peter says, I wonder if Cox was in our top 6 in 2018. Probably not. He had a good final series, though. Lipinski has risen out of the bottom 6. I found it hard to put him in the bottom 6, but I just couldn't find a reason to put anyone else in there. It's a good problem. Luke says Quaynor, Lipinski, Bo. Pez has been pretty average this year. He could be bottom 6. I mean, he's sort of in that middle tier, isn't he? And he could very well be there, but yeah. Yeah, not necessarily bad, Digsby. Exactly right. Tom Mitchell, well, because he's not... So, Stefanos, because Tom Mitchell didn't play against Brisbane, we're not considering players who are out of the squad. We're just talking about whoever's in the best 23 right now, who are our bottom 6 players there. Pez isn't bottom 6, says Peter. Perriman not in the best side, says Luke. Bottom 6 are... Peter Nutt says bottom 6 are Howe, that's outrageous. Bobby Hill, that's outrageous. Frampton, fair enough. Mason Cox, fair enough. Lipinski, fair enough. JDG, right now, maybe. But for the season, no. No. We have no passengers. That's what wins flags. All the boys are doing well, says Manny. Where are we? Elada Michali Pies by 51. Houston for the medal. Yeah, Badgery, I'm well aware of Lipinski's kicking efficiencies going inside 50. I talk about it every post game show, and I talk about his running capacity as well. He's a really good offensive wingman for us. He's the connector. Internally, they would love Q's output for sure. Just because he's in the bottom 6 doesn't make him like a bad player. He's just playing the role really well, and it's just, yeah. It's a tough exercise. I want you guys, get your phone out, get a book out, write me your bottom 6 and write me your top 6 as of this point of the season. You know what I mean? Someone said Jamie Elliott. Digsby says Jamie Elliott isn't bottom 6 any day of the week. Last year, absolutely, he's back in some arguably career best form. If we did this at the end of last year, Elliott would have been absolutely bottom 6, looked overcooked and old. Sharp as attack at the moment, being great. I mean, in the first half of last year, he was great. Then he had the foot injury and never really bounced back from it. So he gets a mulligan, doesn't he? Checkers for a blinder. 5 goals, says Boomer from Black Rod. Sidey for the medal at age 34 would be amazing. Has Sidey ever won the Anzac Day medal? I think he did. I think it was a game where we pumped Essendon and he was crook. He was crook. I think he kicked 3 goals in the first quarter or something. Teams come out in 2 minutes, guys. Would seriously open up talks to the mid-year if he keeps this up by winter. You think Steele's a lock to play on next year if he sticks around? What do we think of Nick Dacos's captaincy? I think we are going to assume at this point that Bruzzy in the meeting said, I've already been a standing captain before. Let Nick Dacos take this. It would mean more to Nick Dacos than it would to Braden Maynard at this point in time. Try this exercise with our best outside the side, including injured. Our depth is the best in the league by far. We'll certainly do that. Maybe in the next couple live streams, Luke, we'll have a look at just ranking our entire list. It won't be easy. It won't be easy. No one wins in that either, whoever has to do it. Me. Bottom 6 concept is flawed. Don't forget Essendon is a young team. They travelled to West Coast last week and played a hard-fought game, so Pie should win by 77 points. Very precise there, hey, Steve-O? Got a ticket. Hope to see you at the game. Elliot Mikali, I'll be there, mate. I'll be there. What am I doing? So I'll do the pre-game show at 10 a.m. I'll probably head in at about 1. Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. I hope Ned Long doesn't win the medal because he could become the next McGo. Yeah, you don't want to put the what's the word? You don't want to put the moz on him, do you? Bottom 6 versus other bottom 6 is the comparison. I like that. I like that, Matt De La Cruz. Howe has been ordinary at best. Don't pump him up like he's out of the bottom 6. Mate, Howe is nearly in my top 6 this year, Peter Nutt. Yeah, Nut. Oh, starting soon. Okay, let's hide that. Teams are out, so or just about, so I'm going to have to... I'd love to catch up to his comments, guys, but I'm going to have to get to the teams. Let's have a look. Latest news. All right, here we go. All right, here I am. Mini Me is here. Put me there. All right. Fixture. All right. In Dan Houston, Tim Membry, Lockie Sullivan, out. Darcy Moore, Mason Cox, Edward Allen. Unfortunately, as we had figured, Mason Cox would be dropped due to the weather, due to Essendon not having Sam Draper, due to Essendon not having Rory Bryan or whatever the other ruckman's name is. So Tim Membry in. Who are the emergencies? Who was just... They got Ed Allen in emergencies, Will Hayes in emergencies, Mason Cox in emergencies. Surprisingly, TJ wasn't really near it in the end. And judging by our predicted 23, we all thought that would be the next play. But we're going to go short. They do have Peter Wright. They have Kyle Langford. But outside of that, they have Harrison Jones and Nate Caddy. It's still not the smallest forward line. So you'd say what? You'd say Billy Frampton gets a job on Peter Wright. You say Braden Maynard, you probably give him like a Nate Caddy or a Harrison Jones, sorry. And Jeremy Howe would have to play maybe Langford. I don't know. I'd have to write this down. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, do you think... Let's write this down. All right, Billy Frampton. So Billy Frampton, without question, will play on Peter Wright. Jeremy Howe, I think he plays on a Nate Caddy. I think he does that well. You're probably asking Bruz to play on Langford. I think they're similar players. I think they match in ability and athletic composition. Isaac Quaynor has played on Jeremy Cameron before, so maybe they ask Quaynor to play on Kyle Langford. And then Bruzzy plays on like a Harrison Jones. So there's a bit of magnets to be moved there. And then you got Josh Dacos and Houston, who will shake hands with their opponent at the start of the game and probably never see them again. Yeah, Howe and Caddy to play the third tall and then roll off and assist Isaac Quaynor and Billy Frampton. Caddy is tall, but he's not super tall. Caddy's not tall. Google. Here we go. Nate Caddy. Here we go. He's 193, so he's not super tall. He's not super tall. What else are we looking at? I mean, Todd Todd Goldstein is in, so we know what DC needs to do. And with the way Collingwood are defending and playing at this point, this team, like Manny says, this back half works as a unit. And if these guys here are doing their job forward of centre, these guys will just work cohesively. Billy Frampton went from last year in the second half of the year looking like the worst key defender to grace the footy field, and now he looks like an 8 out of 10 key defender. So you help me help you. Help Billy Frampton. Billy Frampton helps you. That's how it works. So maybe Perryman will come in and do some sort of defensive assignment. If Quaynor doesn't play tall, then I think he plays on a Kako. Because you certainly can't have Josh Dacos starting on Kako, and you can't have Dan Houston start. Maybe you could have Dan Houston starting on Josh Dacos, but that's not going to be his main objective in this game. His MO. Matt Dela Cruz says our structured defense will remain impenetrable. Perryman could also play on Langford. Yeah, I'm not sure how fast Perryman is off the mark, but yeah, it's someone who will. It's probably not something we'll get right straight away early in the game. Maybe we start with someone here on one of these lads here, and then just based on the first quarter, we'll know. Okay, Braden Maynard on Langford didn't quite work. Let's try Perryman on him. Okay, Perryman's getting torched up. Let's throw Quaynor on him. So we're not married to a certain lineup. Fly has been really good in the way he's been able to react in game with his coaches and in the coaches box, and they're able to make snappy decisions. All right, this is working. This is not working. This is what we need to change. This is what needs to stay the same. Pendles rolls back, says Andreas. Nah. Our wingers roll back as well, yep. Jack Crisp does that. Hoskin Elliott could roll back as well, but we thought he'd maybe do that last week with Houston out. He ended up playing forward. I think Hoskin Elliott's role at AFL level will probably be forward and wing for the foreseeable future. What else are we saying? Hey, Kynan, how you going? So Sullivan in. That's another positive for a man who would have been stiff to miss last week. He comes in and he will, get the minutes that Ed Allen had, whether it be small or large. I think Lockie Sullivan deserves an opportunity. Who's the sub? Is it going to be Lockie Sullivan? I think it's pretty straightforward, right? Unless, Fly. Look, by the way, Fly's not going to make Pendlebury or Elliott a sub in an Anzac Day clash. You need your big time players playing in these games starting. I think, Lockie Sullivan is the man. So how far off were we? Let's have a look. What did we settle with here the other day? Let's see. This is what we settled with. So the thing we missed was Jath, and we didn't bring Sullivan in. Did we bring Sullivan? We had Sullivan as an emergency. We thought Markov would be an emergency. It was a collective effort, guys. This isn't just me, yeah? All right? So if I'm wrong, you're wrong, okay? So West is not an emergency. Markov is not an emergency. Sullivan is not an emergency, right? We've got, instead, we have Cox, Hayes, and Allen. So we got none of them right. Interestingly, we did pick Allen to be out, but we didn't pick him to be a sub. We also picked Cox to be out. We didn't pick him to be a sub, an emergency, sorry. So, you learn. You learn. When you do the Predictor 23, you just learn. Can I move this over? What happens if I do that? Yeah, that's better. So, this is how I think it will go, right? I think we could very well just see this. We're just going to see this. We're going to see this. Where are you? So they brought in Sully. Is Hoskin Elliott in the team? He is, isn't he? Yeah. That will be what it is. Where's Pez? And then, yeah, Pez will roll through here. Don't know if he plays much midfield time this weekend or tomorrow. Langford's 6'2", Peter G, no? Is more there? We took more out, didn't we? Did we not take out? Yeah, we've already taken him out. Let's catch up to comments. There's a few goal scoring capabilities there, so we need to continue with our strong defensive game. Now I'll need to move the magnets. D says Crisp has size, so could play in the back line if we're struggling. It's a good idea. Playing as a defensive wingman though, he'll find ways to roll back more often than not anyways. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm going to the game, so I'm looking forward to it. I think Quaynor will probably play on Kako, maybe a bit of Perryman as well. It's normally Stringer that gets us. Good thing he's not here. He used to kill us in the centre bounces. Peter G says, we defend as a whole team from our forwards to mids to defenders. The whole team is on top of the defensive game. Pies picked a wet weather side. I picked Sully coming in last night. Bombers might be a bit too tall for the conditions. And that will probably dictate some way of how the game will pan out. They end up going quite tall in the forward line, and we've gone quite small in our back line. So who knows? Who knows what happens there? Get rid of Mini-Me. See you later. Beautiful. Agree, Manny. Last year they put String in the middle with impact. I reckon Long counters that into goal. Will be a handful. Dom says, will McRae ever get a game? Unfortunately, he's hurt his shoulder again. He's going to be out for like two to 4 months. So unfortunately, that could be very well the end of Finlay McRae at AFL level, unfortunately. Devastating. Strong lineup, people. Nothing to worry about. Major depth. Major depth is a theme in 2025 for the Collingwood Football Club. If Langford has a day out after 5 weeks out with a hammy, I'll go insane. Maybe, hey, knock on wood for the man, maybe he does a hammy again. Who knows? You're coming in 5 weeks, no AFL footy. You're coming back into a game that is high intensity, high anxiety. It's a risky game to come back into. Don't discount McRae making a late change again, bringing in Cox or some speed with Hayes. I suppose we saw it last week, Rick. So we could see it depending on, we know Melbourne weather. The Melbourne weather is unpredictable, so we'll probably have a fair idea. We wake up tomorrow when it gets close to the bounce. We'll know. All right, yeah, I think we'll stay small, or maybe we need to revert to go a little bit more taller. Langford did kill us last time. Did he win the medal? No, it was Merritt. Merritt won it last year, but I thought Langford, had he kicked that final shot and converted it, then for sure, without a doubt, he would have taken the medal home. Nakos could be inspired for a 50 disposal game, and so we are yet to see the level of Nick Dacos as a skipper. We haven't seen that level being unlocked yet. Tomorrow we'll get that. The stand-in captain level of Nick Dacos. Level unlocked. There's not many levels after that. We need to do our footy tips as well, by the way. So I'm going to go small again. Then we're going to turn this bad boy off. All right. Move that there. I think I had another average week on the cards after having a decent week prior. All comps. Score prediction? I think it will be low scoring, Kynan. Depending on the weather. 5 out of 9. It's not ideal. It's not what you want. I'm not leading by example, am I? Theone says, just bank the 4 points. Be happy with the 4-goal win. We'll take that. Oh, mate, I'll take any kind of win tomorrow. I don't care how we play. It's just one of those games where you just need to out-effort the other team. It's going to be 0-0 when the game starts, and you know how it all goes. Where's my competition? Am I looking right? I'm looking right at it and I can't even see it. I need to do my tips, but let's see. Who's leading? Raymond. Raymond with 41 tips. Just ahead of Shake and Dakes. There's a few 40s. How far back am I? Oh, God. Where am I? It's okay. 36. I'm 4 tips out of 5 tips out from top. It's not too bad. So he's gone 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Opening round, obviously. And then he had 6. Did anyone get close to 8 in round 6? Any familiar names there? Not quite. Oh, Woody. Woody had a good one. Ramish. Okay, so I wasn't too far off the mark. I wasn't too far off the mark, was I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do better. I'm not happy with this. I need to do better than that. I'm not performing. Fly might sack me. All right. Let's tip. Let's be honest. Oh, do we go for one of these ones early? Do we do one of these ones early? I don't think I've got the guts, lad. Don't think I've got the guts for it. 20%. Who came in? Who came in for Richmond? I mean, Noel Bolter curfew, so that hurts. Any other significant outs? Samson, right? Blake Howes, Turner, Melksham. They've gotten stronger. Look, I would love to see Richmond win, but I'm still gonna have to go Melbourne. Richmond just beat the top side though. Richmond just beat Gold Coast. Melbourne beat Pretenders in Freo. I'll keep that there for a second. Collingwood, $1.25. Look, Freo in Perth are a whole nother beast, but I'm going to go Adelaide. I'm going to go Brisbane. I'm going to go Port. I'm going to go... Ooh. It's hard to go against GWS. Gold Coast versus Sydney. Sydney are 2 and 4, aren't they? Or something like that. Sydney is struggling. What have they got? Any decent ins for the squad? I want to tip Sydney, but I'm not going to. Geelong, please. Hawks. What a horrible way to finish your weekend. Hawthorn versus the Eagles at Marvel. Jeez, no one would even bat an eyelid. Geelong, Gold Coast. Have I picked enough smokies here? I've gone Richmond. Like, no one's going Richmond. So, we'll take it. Submit. Done. Happy with that. All right. My redemption arc starts tonight, Tigers. Put my faith in you. All right. Anyways, enough of that. I'll leave you guys with it, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys. I'm going to do a pre-game show at 10 a.m. I've got to get into the game nice and early, soak up the atmosphere. So 10 a.m., and then we will do the post-game show, not long after the game. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to get home, and hopefully we come back with the win. Thanks for being and sticking around, guys.